Hey, you're welcome to Mass Medicine with Francis on episode 7. Today we are going to be discussing lengthy on a special topic that most students don't like going through it, known as the TR. What is TR? TR is trigonometrical ratio. This must have to do with lots of things. It have to do with a special code known as SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. So this particular X stands for sine. This C stands for cosine. While this A stands for tangent. Okay? Stands for tangent. So SOHCAH and then TOA. That is TOA. You understand what I'm saying? So assuming now that you are being given maybe a drawing, say this is drawn for you. This is drawn for you. And then this is an angle. Let's say that this angle is named 55 degree. And then this is 20 cm. Okay. Then here is X. Now, you know that based on this scenario, what you expected to do is to find the value of this X. You understand what I'm saying? Now, in finding the value of this X, it means that you are going to apply this principle that is above. You can either use SO or CA or TOA for you to solve it. But how do you know the one to use? Most cases, when students come here, they become very confused because it's not just a guesswork. That's why I always tell my students that mathematics is not what you just come and guess. But you're lucky that you are here with Mass Medicine with Francis on episode 7. That definitely you're going to understand to the grassroots of how this functions. Now, whenever you see something like this, you are not supposed to be guessing whether I'm to use tangent or I'm to use cosine or I'm to use sine. No, it's not. What to do is this. When you look at this whole drawing just as it is, always remember what all these things that I'm going to use to quantify this particular mathematics. This is the longest side. Even if you have a measuring materials and you can measure it, from this particular point to this point is the longest side of this whole drawing. So this longest side is called the hypotenuse. Now, any place that you see an angle facing, this is an angle given, right? Any place where it's facing is known as your opposite. Then the other place that remains is called the adjacent. Now, when you look at all this particular scenario now, here that you have SOHCAHTOA. Let me write that for you to understand more better. SOHCAHTOA. Now, if I should call here my hypotenuse and call here my adjacent and call here my opposite, which of these three matches, knowing fully well that we have nothing to do with the adjacent? No value is given here, but a value is given here and a value is given here. But this value here is unknown, meaning that what we are solving for is for this X. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what you expected to do is which among these three matches accurately to this particular drawing. That is the one which we are going to use to solve what we are asked to solve. When you look here now, you see that the hypotenuse and the opposite are the two things which we need here with the angle, right? Now, when you look at it now, you are seeing that the tangents have something to do with the adjacent. You are seeing this, it has something to do with what? With the adjacent, and we are not solving anything related to the adjacent, so this one is off already. We are ruling this off, is out of the equation. Then you still come to the car, that is the cosine, the adjacent over hypotenuse. You see that we don't need the adjacent, so this one too is out. Then the only one now that remains standing, the last man standing here, is the which is the sine. So what do you do here? You will now apply the principle by saying that sine of the angle, this is known as theta. So the sine of the angle theta is equal to, because the sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so it will be x over the hypotenuse. You understand this now? Which is going to be equal to sine, the angle given here is 55 degree, equal to x over the hypotenuse is 20 cm, right? You remember that the lengths are measured in centimeter, angles are measured in degrees, right? So what do you do in this case? You are going to now cross multiply. You cross multiply by saying 20 times sine 55 degree is equal to 1 times x. If you watch my other videos, you are going to remember and recall that I always say that 1 times any particular thing. I can probably say 1 times mass made easy with Francis. The answer is going to be mass made easy with Francis. So 1 times x is equal to x. Then what do I do here? I'm going to say 20 multiplied by sine 55. Now, if you have a calculator, what you expected to do here is this. You're going to use your calculator and you press sine 55. Sine 55 will give you 0.8192 equal to x. I hope you're getting this. Then what are you supposed to do again? You will now still use the same calculator and multiply 20 by 0.8192, which is going to give us what? 16.384 centimeter. That is the value of x. Therefore, hence, the value of x, the approximated value of x, is going to be 16 cm. You understand this now? The approximated value of x is going to be 16. Now, you could be asked, solve this particular question and approximate your answer to two significant figure. And you know that saying two significant figure, it means 1, 2. Now, the value that is here is not up to 5. What do? You are going to run it down. And you running it down means that this becomes 0. Every other thing here becomes 0. You will still have 16 cm. But if you still approximate to the nearest whole number, you will still come to the point of what? 16 centimeter. Now, one more thing which I would like us to understand is that in our subsequent times, in the short video that I'm going to post that have to do with this, you are going to see how we can always cross-check every of these equations, every of these kind of questions that is being given to us. Now that the value of x is equal to 16 cm, what do I do now? I'll come to this point and then replace this x with 12 cm. Now that I've gotten the opposite to be 12 cm, now that I've gotten the opposite to be 16 cm, 16 cm, and then the hypotenuse is 20 cm, what is left now for me to complete this whole right angle triangle is for me to find the value of the adjacent. And then finding the value of the adjacent down, as long as I have gotten this and I have this already, I can use any of them that have to do with adjacent then I will solve to find what I'm looking for, depending on the one which I'm going to use. You understand it now? So let's assume now that that this right angle triangle is given to us, then that this side of the hypotenuse is given, the opposite is given, the adjacent is the one that they've labeled x, and they say find the value of x. Now, you can use the opposite and the adjacent to find what you're looking for. You can as well use the hypotenuse and the adjacent to find what you're looking for. So in a case that you're being given this, and assuming that this place is not given at all, but here is given, what are you supposed to use to solve this? When you look at what we've derived already, which is ka and tua, is between these two, right? Then the opposite have to do with tua. So it means that what you will use to solve this is going to be tangent. So it would have been tan of this angle is going to be equal to, since here is now 16, remember that here is 16 cm. So since here now is 16, it will be 16 over the adjacent, which is x. Then you find what you're looking for. This is it's extremely simple. It's extremely simple. But if you have any question, please don't forget to ask on the comment section, and don't forget to share and turn up your notification bell for more, because as long as we are here, we are building a community, and we are doing that with the speed of light that everyone is going to be following along as we keep on moving to a greater height. So I still remain your special host, Mass Medicine with Francis. More are coming, more gifts will be given to as many as possible that are ready to answer the questions which I'm going to be asking below. Okay, remember that after each lesson, we always throw a question. For the first person to answer will bear a gift. Now, assuming now that you come to a point that you're giving a question just like this, let's say you're asked to calculate the value of y. Let's say on a drawing just like this, here is an angle 50 degree, then 17 centimeter, then y. Assuming you're asked to find the value of y on this drawing now, you know that what you have to use is this and this, right? So I'll be expecting an answer as soon as possible. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate your presence.